Hey everyone, this is the movie recap of Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scargiver. I have uploaded the recap of Part 1. It's the continuation of that part. Go watch it first and come back quickly. So let's start. The movie begins with the narrator recounting the events of the first part. Scene gradually shifts inside Mothership, the King's Gaze. There, a masked medical technician informs Commander Cassius that Admiral Noble is barely alive with a damaged brain. The Admiral is wrapped in chrysalis. They free his face from the chrysalis. Awake, the Admiral orders Cassius to set forth for Velt to find Arthale, the Scargiver. The movie then shifts to Velt, where Cora and her team are greeted by Den and Cora's adoptive father, Hagen. An excited Sam informs Aris about their return. Aris is not happy. He is then contacted by Cassius through a Mother World radio technology. He lies to Cassius and assures him that all the soldiers are doing fine. Cassius informs him that they will come in 5 days to take the harvest. Cora informs Hagen in the Longhouse that the Admiral is dead and it's against protocol to come without an Admiral to command the mothership, so the army won't be coming to Velt. Hagen and Den feel relieved, but Aris intervenes and informs them that they are coming in 5 days. Cora does not understand why they would break the protocol and feels confused. Titus then gives a motivating speech to the villagers and asks them to bring in the crops in 3 days so that they can use them both as bartering tools and shields against the Mother World army. The scene shifts to the evening. Gunnar finally expresses his love to Cora. Cora passionately kisses him. After they make out, Cora tells Gunnar about the day the king's family was slain. Under the influence of his healing daughter, the king decided to dismantle all the war machines. Balisarius was against his decision. He hatched a plan to assassinate the king, queen, and Issa with the help of his men and Cora during the princess's coronation. The King's Gaze was called Peacemaker by the king, and Issa was set to christen it in the name of peace. Cora was assigned to kill the princess. In the ship, Balisarius and his men stabbed the king and queen. Cora shoots Princess Issa. A twinkling astral light leaves Issa's body before she dies. Balisarius then frames Cora for the murder of the three, declaring her an off-worlder and the assassin of the royal family. Angry and devastated, Cora escapes on a ship by killing many of Balisarius's men. The movie then shifts to the present. Everyone in the village is seen harvesting the crops as fast as possible. On the King's Gaze, the unstable admiral kills one of the medical technicians and orders them to unhook him from the tubes. He then retakes command from Cassius and vows to bring Cora to Balisarius. In the village, everyone is seen working day and night to harvest the crops. Cassius then asks Aris about Marcus and the other soldiers. Aris deviates him by telling him they are busy making the villagers overwork so that the grains could be harvested on time. The admiral, who was listening to the conversation, clarifies that Aris is not on their side and that all their soldiers are dead. At night, Sam gifts all the 6 members of Cora's team with a banner having unique symbols. The villagers then dance and eat in merriment. General Titus then sings in his native language, and listening to his song from afar, JC rests under the sky at night. In the morning, Titus calls the villagers and reveals his plan to protect the village. They move the grains inside the village. They gather all kinds of weapons present in the village, including those left behind by the Imperium soldiers. The 6 of them are seen training the villagers to defend and attack. They dig holes and underground tunnels and pull out Cora's dropship and repair it. At night, Titus asks all the 6 members to confess their truth before fighting against the Mother World army. He confesses that his men died for him because he chose to surrender after disobeying Balisarius, refusing to destroy the Parliament of Sarawu. Milius then tells her story while her flashback appears on the screen. Her people surrendered to the Mother World in fear. The army killed the old and weak, and the remaining were asked to work in different parts of the universe. The scene then shows Milius's camp being attacked and liberated by the resistance under Darien. She joined the resistance and got a new family. Nemesis then confesses that her fishing village was destroyed. Her village was full of people of war. In the flashback, the painful Nemesis cuts her own hand with her glowing sword and vows for revenge. She shows them her lost hand, which was actually a gauntlet. It appeared to be her wrist guard earlier. Tarek shares his part of the grief. He was a prince, but his father was betrayed and killed by Belisarius's men. They invaded their planet, and his mother, the queen, jumped off the king's palace in front of him. He ran from his planet to preserve his bloodline. He has a guilt that he was unable to defend his kingdom. Korra doesn't share her part of the story and instead diverts the topic. They were waiting for tomorrow. It was the day when the enemy ship would arrive. In the morning, Korra hides her dropship inside the cave behind the waterfall. She is visited by JC or James. Korra tells him that they must fight against the army, but the hesitant James tells her that she must know she cannot win and leaves. While the villagers were still working on defense, they saw the dreadnought entering the sky. The Admiral and Cassius scan the new formation set up by the villagers and analyze their plans. They plan to capture women and children in the Longhouse, while the Admiral negotiates with the remaining villagers. A part of the army approaches the village in ships. Korra is shocked to see the Admiral alive. She has chopped her hair. He shows his scar to her. Korra offers him a choice to leave and save his life, or else he will be slaughtered by the mere villagers. The evil Admiral laughs and says the women and children of the village will soon be captured as they talk. He gives Korra a choice to surrender the grain and herself, and then he will spare the village. Frightened, Korra almost agrees to his condition, but Gunnar darts her while hugging and shoots the warning bell. A villager with a missile-like weapon emerges from the ground and destroys one of the Admiral's ships. The Admiral falls on the ground, covered with dust. Gunnar then takes Korra on Uraki toward her ship. The Admiral enters the tunnel alone and starts knocking down the villagers present there. On the other hand, Den destroys one more ship. Nemesis single-handedly fights one group of soldiers entering the Longhouse, while Sam and Eris fight the other group coming from a different side. The Admiral shoots one of the missile men from the tunnel and tries to escape in one of his ships. Den sees him and attacks him inside the ship. He is overpowered by the Admiral. The Admiral kills him and throws him off the ship. Korra then tries to enter the mothership, disguised as one of the army's dropships. Gunnar starts a fake smoke on top of her ship, thus making the man in the mothership believe that their ship is damaged and needs help. He takes control of her ship to guide it to the maintenance part of the mothership. Titus and the remaining villagers attack the remaining army on the ground. Tarek and his team join them. On the other hand, one of the soldiers cuts off Nemesis's gauntlet, and she is seen struggling to fight with one hand. Eris stabs the soldier who was trying to kill Sam. Back in the tunnel, a brave village soldier blows off the tunnel to kill every soldier above and below, lying on the path of the explosion. Korra and Gunnar, disguised as injured soldiers, are taken to the rescue through the lift in the King's Gaze. Nemesis is stabbed by a soldier. She dies after saving a kid from that soldier. The villagers there mourn her death. Tarek and Titus are seen fighting bravely. They win the fight on the ground and shout in excitement, but more soldiers come with shooting tankers. Korra kills all the soldiers in the room and takes their guns along with Gunnar. The tanker continues to destroy the village. Milius goes underwater to avoid them. She sneaks from behind and destroys that tanker with a missile. Korra plants many bombs at the core part of the dreadnought. She then climbs into the engine room and shoots at the men. The Admiral is informed about the situation. The Admiral is happy and orders Cassius to capture her in the ship and destroy the village. Cassius hesitates since their men were still on the ground. Tarek saves Milius on the battlefield below. Gunnar sneaks into one of the army's ships. One more tanker and some enemies approach Tarek, Milius, and Titus. Milius and Tarek vow to die together in the battle, but they are intervened by JC. He single-handedly kills all the remaining enemies and destroys the tank. Gunnar is waiting for Korra in one of the ships. The huge gun of King's Gaze is seen shifting. Its target to destroy the entire village, guided by Admiral's man. The Admiral's men search for Korra in the ship. While Korra defeats some men, she takes their blue glowing weapon after coming out of one of the lifts and enters the Admiral's place through another lift. The Admiral and his men are waiting for her. The gun is charged and ready to fire when soldiers discover that Korra has planted bombs at the core of the ship. The timer runs out and the bomb explodes. The whole ship starts getting destroyed due to the explosion. The gun is fired before that, but it deviates from the target due to the sudden explosion. Gunnar shoots the Admiral's man, but is in turn shot by the Admiral. The King's Gaze is seen falling. Amidst the fall, Korra and the Admiral indulge in a fight again, this time with blue glowing weapons. The Admiral loses his weapon in the fall. He still overpowers Korra, making her lose her weapon too. They keep punching and fighting while falling. Some of the Admiral's men escape in their ships. The Admiral has thrashed Korra to the ground, while her weapon lay near her, stuck into the metal of the ship. He strangles her and almost kills her, but Gunnar stabs him from behind with Korra's weapon. Korra then slices the Admiral's head with the weapon. Korra somehow escapes with Gunnar on a damaged ship, flying through the debris of the falling King's Gaze. They land roughly on the ground, while the King's Gaze falls behind. She carries the wounded Gunnar out of the ship. Gunnar dies in weeping Korra's arms. He succumbs to the gun wound given by the Admiral. While grieving, Korra sees Devra's rebel ships flying above them and shooting the remaining dropships of the dead Admiral. The whole village cheers in joy as Devra's army demolishes the remaining army and tankers. Titus shouts the winning war cry with pride and emotion. Korra weeps her heart out over Gunnar's loss. They have won the war. The movie then shows the villagers paying tributes to the fallen by burning them. Gunnar's banner, given by Sam, had a heart-shaped symbol. It was now burning with him. Grief-stricken, Korra finally tells Titus her true identity, but to her surprise, he knew it already. He tells her that the princess is still alive, and now she has to find her and fight Belisarius to free the whole mother world. Devra, JC, Titus, Milius, and Tarek vow to find the princess with her and fight. Thus, the movie ends on a cliffhanger where Korra vows to find her and fight. So guys, this was the movie recap of the second part, Rebel Moon, the Scargiver. The third part will be released soon. Till then, like and subscribe to my channel for more movie recaps like this. See you soon.